Today, the Euroyard goes back in time to 1964 and brings you our scores for that year's Eurovision Song Contest. This was Denmark's first time hosting Eurovision, and not only that, but it was the first time any Nordic country got to host. In today's Eurovision terms, you think of how often Sweden has won, and they've hosted more than any other Scandinavian country, but in reality, Denmark beat them to it. 1964 was the 9th Eurovision Song Contest. It was held in late March on a Saturday. Every grand final going forward will be on a Saturday. We just mentioned Sweden, and ironically, they dropped out in 1964. However, we held firm at 16 countries in the contest because Portugal made their debut. Finally, don't bother trying to find a video online of the 1964 contest because it doesn't exist. Like 1956, there is no surviving recording anywhere. There are a handful of short clips you might be able to find, but the prevailing theory is that the Danish broadcaster, nor anyone else, thought to record it. This will not be a problem from 1965 through the present, so you just need to get through this one on audio only. A quick reminder on how we score songs. Every category has its own weight and its own subcategories, and the maximum score we give any song is 500 points. No song has come anywhere near it, as 500 points would require a level of incomprehensible perfection. Following every contest, we will update our all-time scoreboard. Going into the 1964 contest, this is where all past and present participating countries stood. Switzerland had an 8-point lead over Italy, with the United Kingdom surging well into third place. The running joke here is that Spain remains at 0, but if you've seen our top 100 countdown on Euroyard, I wouldn't be upset about it for too long. Let's also remind you of the Deservo-meter. Following every song, we will let you know our view on if the song got the fate it deserved. Some songs are very overrated, some are very underrated, and in other cases, the jury's got it just right. We'll spoil this for you. We think the jury's got at least some of it wrong every year. Every year. You're welcome. Alright, let's get into the rankings from 16th to 1st. The song we had in last in 1964 was Finland, Laiskotellen, which means lazily, and was performed by Lasse Mortensen. This came in 7th on the night, which was tied for their best finish to this point. However, we were not fans. I did not hate the lyrics, but I thought the performance was a little dull and a little flat. However, in terms of a final score from us, Finland's isn't that bad. We had it at 244 points, which is pretty high for a last place song. Nevertheless, we fire up the Deservo-meter, and this one is tilting towards having been ranked too high on the night. In 15th place, we go to Germany, and we give you Nora Nova's song, Man gewöhnt sich so schnell an das Schöne, which is a mouthful, but it also means you get used to the beauty so quickly. I feel like I should have been interested in this one, but it should be said that just because a song is upbeat does not mean it will get an automatic boost of points from us. In 7 decades of contests, I've heard way worse than this, but the vocals were not too captivating, and that's ultimately why it ended up near the bottom. According to the Deservo-meter, this one landed about where it should have. Now to number 14th, En Près de ma rivière by Robert Cogua. This song title means Nearby My River. It was Belgium's year to send a song in French, and by now you should have noticed that they switched off between French and Dutch every year. Now they just do it all in English. Anyway, Cogua delivered a smooth voice, so it was an okay vocal performance, but the song itself did not do anything for me. It was the weakest composition score of the year on our card, and we will forgive you if it puts you to sleep. The Deservo-meter debated where the needle would land, but we're saying it finished about where it should have, just like the song before it. Next, we have a major disagreement with the juries, and sorry, it's Monaco again. In 13th position, we have Où sont-elles passées by Romuald. The title asks a question: where did they go? We can explain the rationale for why we bagged a song that came in 3rd. I will give Monaco credit because the composition wasn't terrible. Lyrically, it was probably one of the best songs in 1964. He didn't sing badly either. However, it sank because frankly, we at the Euroyard were bored. Very, very bored. At this point, I have heard this French love song before, and while he did some things well, it didn't break any new ground at all. You can imagine what the Deservo-meter thinks of it, and now we will confirm it. This was an average song that did very well, probably too well. The host country is next at 12th as Denmark's song Sangen om dig, or The Song About You by Bjorn Tidemand, failed to make our top 10. It did make the jury's top 10, but not by a lot. This song had a number of the same criticisms and credits as the Monegasque song before it, but simply put, what it came down to was this was just a smidge less snooze-inducing as that other one. Not really all that special, and the Deservo-meter agrees that the jury's placed it close enough to where we think it belonged. We wrap up the non-top 10 songs, sadly to nobody's surprise, with Spain. Through 1964, 1964, this is the highest we have put them, and in case there are any muy tristes Spanish Euro fans out there, give it 2 more years and you'll see what we think. This song was Caracola by Nelly with Tim and Tony, which you might also see elsewhere as Los TNT or TNT if you want to Americanize it. A Caracola is a conch, as in a conch shell. Shouldn't surprise you that the lyrics talk a lot about the sea. Definitely wasn't the best number in 1964, but it was different. The song got better towards the end, but I think it just took way too long to get there, and it might have gone top 10 with a more steady effort. The Deservometer lands this one at just about right. Into the top 10 and scoring 1 point is Norway with Arne Bendiksen's song Spiral. It finished 8th on the night, and yes, it means spiral in English. What was spiraling in the song were his thoughts. And when you listen to some of the imagery in the lyrics, you'll pick that up, such as his brain being empty like a shell and floating drunk with happiness. This was interesting, no doubt. He hit some big notes, didn't love the vocals otherwise, but it was fun. It deserved its point, and the Deservometer thinks it landed in the correct place. 9 songs to go now, and in 9th we give 2 points to Yugoslavia. Život je sklopio krug, which is Croatian for Life Has Come Full Circle, and it was performed by Sabahudin Kurt. The juries didn't like it, but I thought it was a fair effort. Much like the Spanish song, it might have gone higher if it hit its second gear for longer and sustained it, but it did not. Vocally, it was decent and not a bad composition either, but as stated, it needed to go bigger. On the Deservometer, we said it deserved a little bit better than its last place finish. We moved to 8th place and we give 3 points to the Netherlands. Anneke Groenlo sang Jij bent mijn leven, which is Dutch for You Are My Life. This song was fun and the most upbeat one of the whole contest. She did a decent job with it. The lyrics might make you a little uncomfortable though. This song is about her lover who was cheating on her, lying to her, and ditching her, but she won't leave him. In lighter news, this extremely 60s song went right up the middle on the Deservometer, finishing where we thought it should. Here is another disagreement with the juries at 7th. We gave Portugal 4 points with Antonio Carvalho's song Oração, which means prayer. If you read through the lyrics, it's quite prayerful, I must say, but it's more about love than anything else, like many Eurovision songs are. This was Portugal's first entry, and I thought he sang quite well. Certainly didn't deserve to finish in a tie for last place, and that's unsurprisingly what the Deservometer says. It deserved at least a little better. Closing in on the top 5, we come to number 6, Dès que le printemps revient, or As Soon as Spring Comes Back, by Hugo Offray. We gave it 6th, and it finished in 4th. Unique is a good way to put this. Everything about it, really. If you get a distinct Bob Dylan vibe from him, well, that's great, because Offray actually knew him and worked with him. It shows in the music, and generally speaking, it was a good fit for Eurovision this year, because it was a nice change of pace. Definitely different, maybe a little odd at times, but it was a good different. The Deservometer slotted this one at just about right. Now it's time to ignite a little controversy. We have Italy's winning song in 5th. That is Non ho l'età, or I'm Not Old Enough, sung by Giulio Cinquetti. If you're complaining, just keep this in mind. We still have Italy in the top 5. Sorry you're upset. Anyway, this song was definitely pleasant and pretty. My one critique is that it really felt like Giulio was holding back. The juries didn't, and that's fine, but I felt like it needed a little spark of emotion or something like it. As for the Deservometer, we would not dare call this overrated, so it's just about right. The score difference between 5th and 1st on our sheet isn't that big. Up to 4th place now, we gave that to Switzerland and one of our favorite singers from this era, Anita Traversi. Her song this year was I miei pensieri, meaning my thoughts. Well, my thoughts are that this song got completely hosed, seeing as it came in a tie for last. Kind of sad that her singing career fizzled after this as well, but wherever you are in the great beyond, Anita, we like you. I don't see this as good as her first effort in 1960, but her voice was so angelic. She sang with a lot of authority and power when she needed to, so her efforts are appreciated here. On the Deservometer, we officially stick it to the juries and say this deserved much better. Into the top 3 we go, and the bronze medal, 8 points, goes to the United Kingdom once again. Matt Monro was the man who sang I Live the Little Things, one of Britain's many second place finishers at the Eurovision Song Contest. I don't think this was much better than Italy's winner at all, but I did find the performance interesting. Monro was a smooth singer. Don't think it was a winning effort, but it was good enough. The Deservometer, not shockingly, agrees with its placement. We're getting into the big point totals now, and in second place with 10 of them was Austria. This was the first of 3 appearances in a row for the late great Udo Jürgens, and his song in 1964 was Warum nur warum? That's German, roughly translated as why? Just why? Udo was a talented guy, and playing his own piano was groundbreaking in its own way. Very solid singer as well. By the way, if you think you've heard this melody before, you probably have. Matt Monro, who we just discussed, liked Udo's song so much that he covered it in English with new lyrics called Walk Away, and it did very well. We have Mr. Jurgens to thank for issuing such an iconic song in 1964. However, it only finished 6th on the 9th, and the Deservometer will appropriately tut-tut the juries. That leaves just one country left, and our 12 point song for 1964 was France, Le Chant de Mallory, or Mallory's Song. It was performed by Rochelle, and that badge in the corner indicates this is a Euroyard Top 100 song as of 2024. This composition was really well done, and Rochelle executed it just the way she should have. I would also call her singing lovely because it was. She placed in 4th at the contest, which is where the Deservometer comes in and says she too deserved a slightly better placement. Now that the scores are done, let's get into the awards by category. In terms of overall impression, our top score went to France, no surprise. They were followed by Austria in 2nd, and we had Luxembourg's song in 3rd. Moving over to our combined vocals categories, we had our favorite, Anita Traversi, in 1st, followed by France and then the United Kingdom in 3rd. Then, we combined the composition and lyrics categories on our score sheet and came up with Luxembourg in 1st, France in 2nd, and the winners, Italy, in 3rd. Finally, we looked at engagement, which is a measure of how intrigued or bored by a song we were, and the Netherlands won this one, followed by Luxembourg and then the United Kingdom in 3rd. As for the contest endnotes, Italy finally won in Eurovision in 1964, and at the time it was a huge blowout win for Giulio Cinquetti. It just really is a shame that Denmark did not record this on tape, not like almost anyone had VCRs in 1964 to do it themselves at home. In terms of the presentation, it was a big downgrade from what the UK did in 1963 with their elaborate staging. We only had bits and pieces as well as lots of still images of this contest, but it's apparent. Eurovision in 1964 also had one returnee, Anita Traversi, but it also had a future winner, Udo Jurgens. You'll see our evaluation of that song a few videos from now. Finally, as we always do, we wrap it up with the new scoreboard updated through the 1964 contest. Switzerland remains in the lead, up by 9 on Italy, but the United Kingdom continues its steady march as they rise to 57. France gets a big 12 point to move up to 48 in 4th place. Once we get to 1965, get ready for a relatively big shift. You can catch that future video and plenty of other Eurovision content on the Euroyard's YouTube channel as well as on the Euroyard.com.